Hi and welcome back to the channel. I recently posted a video on building a banjo for my wood lathe. Now a banjo is a device that is used to allow the user to move the tool rest around in different positions so that they can use different turning tools and turn different parts of items such as the insides of bowls and things like that. I'll leave a link in the description for that build if you're interested in that. Now in that video I built the banjo, but I didn't build any tool rests which fit into the banjo. So in this video I want to build a couple of basic tool rests. This is the banjo that I built in that video, and the tool rest fits in this hole here. So basically these are about an inch or 25 millimeters in diameter. They come in different sizes. Smaller lathes will have smaller diameters, but typically a standard lathe is about an inch. And the tool post fits into there, and you can adjust the height up and down like that and then clamp it to whatever position you want. This can be rotated as well, left and right, and the top of the tool rest, which will be a bar like this, will be fixed to the stem, and then that can move round or be lifted up and down so that the user can get their turning tool at the right height and position when they're doing their turning work. In this case the post is 25 millimeters and the top of the tool rest will be a 20 millimeter bar. Now these bits of steel are hardened, so that is what you want for a tool rest. Otherwise, when your tool runs along the top here, if it's soft material, then you can get little dents and divots in here, and then you don't get a smooth gliding movement with your tool. So it's always best to use hardened material. Now I would prefer this to be smaller, maybe 10 mil, 3/8 of an inch, or say 12, 13 mil, which is about half of an inch, but I don't have any of that material on hand. So I'm going to make a couple of tool rests with this 20 millimeter steel bar and see how that goes. I can always make other tool rests at a later date if I find these don't work too well. In saying that, I have actually seen people make tool rests, the top bar of the tool rest, out of this 25 millimeter or 1 inch bar anyways. I presume it's going to work okay, so we're going to go with that in the builds today. Now you might think it's quite a simple type of thing. We just cut off a bit of this bar and weld it to the top here. That's kind of true, but I actually want to offset this bar forward, so it won't be in the middle, or it'll be more forward like that, so that the post doesn't get in the way of the work. So I want this bar more forward than the post, if that makes sense. And I don't want to weld it to there, because when you're using it, you normally have your finger as a guide on the inside of the bar here while you're using the tool. So the plan is to move it forward as far as I can, and then I'll just chamfer off this corner down here. And to provide more support, I might put some little gussets in here on each side. It depends on the length of this bar. The short one probably won't need it, but the longer one will probably need that support. So in terms of length of the top bar of the tool rest, I think I want to make a short one, because that can be handy to get into tighter places, probably 100 millimeters or 4 inches long, and then maybe a 150 millimeter or 6 inch, and maybe a 200 millimeter or 8 inch tool rest. And that'll give me a lot of flexibility on the lathe and be able to get into tighter places and things like that. The first thing I do here is cut that long 20 millimeter diameter bar down into the 3 pieces that we need. And I clean up those cut ends on the belt grinder there. I'm working out the height of the stem. It can't extend out of the bottom of the banjo. Then I cut that excess part off. Now I'm working out where I want this offset, because I need to cut a little chamfer off the end off this post. In hindsight, I probably cut a little bit too far down here, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't think this piece is necessary for the tool rest support, but I do make it so that it can be used as a guide for your fingers to rub along when you're using the chisels on the lathe. I have it all set up here ready to weld. The post is held in a square collet block, and I've made that chamfer horizontal. This strip will go here eventually, but first I will tack weld it in these points in the corners here. So I'll try and square it all up. You'll see once the first tack goes on, it moves a bit, so I have to do a bit of jiggling at the other end there and hold it in position to do the second tack. And then I put some heavier welds in there. Now I'm putting that 3mm plate on. That's initially tacked, and then I do some proper welding later. And once it's all welded, I use the wire wheel and just clean everything up. Now I'll give it a good clean down with acetone here, because I'm going to cold blue this part. This is Birchwood Permablue. I think it's an American company, but we can get this product here in New Zealand, although like everything else it's quite expensive, but it works pretty good. You normally get it from gun shops and stuff over here in New Zealand. I make sure that all areas are covered well and the colour is uniform across the whole part. Once that's done, it's washed off in water and then oiled up, and then I place it back into the banjo. Alright, so that's one of the tool rests completed, and that came out pretty good. It's quite good. I've got this area down here where I can put the tool on there, put my thumb underneath, and use that as a guide to slide it along the top of the tool rest here. And that is very nice and smooth. There's no dings or divots there, so that'll work out really well. Now, there's a couple of things that I might do different on the next one. So this tool rest is right down the bottom there, and when I bring in the bowl gouge level, I'm pretty much, well, the tip is probably just below the center of the spindle here. That's fine for when you're doing most general turning, because you can lift it up higher if you need to go a little bit above center. In certain situations you might want to go a bit lower, and this one doesn't go any lower here. Now the cause of the issue here is that this is very old lathe, and it's kind of a small lathe, so the swing from the center of the spindle to the lathe bed is not very much, and by the time you get the banjo and then a tool rest with the bar quite high because you want a plate for guiding along the bottom here, it becomes, you know, a bit tight on room there. So for the next tool rest, well, particularly the shorter one, I'm probably not going to put this guide here. I think you'll be able to still use your thumb on the side of the top bar, and that should be okay. And for the middle size one, which is about 150, probably about that long, if I do put a plate along the bottom, I might make it a little bit shorter. It'll only be a plate for support, really, because I don't think this is going to move. This is welded on pretty good, as you would have seen with the welds. So anyway, we'll get to that when we start building the other two. Now the other issue I saw, I didn't sort of think about this at the beginning. Cutting this angle was fine, but I should have probably not cut it all the way down here. And the reason being is because if I have the screw in the front and this comes down, then it sort of gets screwed into that flat area. And if that's the case, then you won't be able to turn it. So, you know, you won't be able to tighten it up there through the front because it'll want to try and straighten up. So I think on the next ones, I'll cut the same type of angle, but I'll only cut it down a little bit, and I'll leave this part fully round here, and that should fix that issue. Anyway, you learn as you go. That was just something I didn't sort of think about when I started making it. Now, if I really do need to get the tool rest lower, I do plan to make some tool rests that have 10mm or about 3/8 of an inch bar at the top. So that'll give me another 10mm, you know, in height to go a bit lower there. Anyway, you've seen how this tool rest was made, so I'm going to make the other two tool rests off camera. With the magic of video, I've gone off and built the other two tool rests here. So that's a 4-inch tool rest, this is a 6-inch, and this was the original 8-inch tool rest that I built. Now there's a little bit of a difference to the design here. So this little chamfer is a lot shorter than the one that we have on here, so it doesn't come quite down so far, and that allows me to lower this into the tool rest a lot further and be able to still clamp up on the round part here. Now I'm quite confident that the welds in here are strong enough. I don't think this will ever break off. You'll probably break a tool before you bend or break this piece of bar here, so that's why I haven't put any gussets down the bottom here. But the design still gives, you know, plenty of room here to, depending how you hold the tool, if you hold it with your thumb and finger, your finger can rub along this area here, or if you do the overhand way, your thumb can rub along that area there. So there's still plenty of room to use your finger or thumb as a guide there. So that's pretty much this job done. If you found something useful in this video, please click on the like button, it really helps out the channel. And if you want to be notified when I do create new videos, click on the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for watching.